All right. I'm hoping that most of you already know what a pinball machine is, but if you don't, it's just a big game where you're meant to keep a ball in play and score points. And here I'm using Crucible to mean any situation where elements come together and create something new. If you haven't seen a pinball machine, here's an illustration of one in profile. These things are crazy combinations of visual design, conditional logic, and user interface all rolled up into one object. And I'm going to be spending the next 5 minutes or so talking about how the early designers of these things were solving some of the very same UI and UX problems that designers working in the digital realm are solving today. So, at the very base level, what does this thing exist to do? It exists to capture attention and extract money from people in a crowded marketplace, which has some parallels. So how did the designers of pinball machines approach this problem? Well, they started by combining every bit of sensory stimuli that they could. So bright colors, bold designs, flashing lights, bells and chimes going off, motion, all of this wrapped up into a single experience to try and draw the attention of passersby. And then once they had that attention, they needed to engage the user. And at the time, one of the most obvious and sort of effective incentives that they had to offer to the pinball player was gambling based. It was payouts and free games. And this gambling association actually led to pinball being outlawed in large parts of the United States for a long stretch of time. It was actually still illegal in some cities as recently as 2016. But these legal problems actually are at least partially to thank for the innovation of the flipper. So the flipper took the game from one of chance, where you just shoot the ball into the field and watch it fall, and put some skill into it. It basically put the user into control of the interface. So now we've got a user who is attentive, engaged, and in control. What's left is to educate them about the feature set of the machine that they've got in front of them. And there is an instruction card on most machines, but it's usually just sort of a summary of rules and scoring. It's not really something that the average user is going to read before taking their first try at the game. Pinball onboarding tends to take place contextually and rely heavily on visual cues. It starts with these coin acceptors here, always lit to draw the eye. Put your coins in, and that's going to light up a start button right nearby. You push that start button, it's going to eject the first ball into the plunger lane. You grab that plunger, you pull back, you shoot the ball into the playfield. That's going to trigger lights around the flippers to draw the user's attention. And then the buttons to control those flippers, come on. The buttons to control those flippers are naturally located right nearby. The mechanical nature of all of these steps means that the visual cues that we've been following all along are coupled with really satisfying audio and tactile cues as well. So the user, importantly, they see, hear, and feel each of these steps as they're going through the onboarding process. And then once the ball is in play, the game is underway and they're playing pinball. And at that point, the upright piece of the machine, the back glass, becomes just a supernatural, really natural, a very natural heads-up display of the state of the game. So you can glance up and see scores and player information, that kind of thing. One of the only innovations in this space over the years has been a carousel, where messaging gets kind of spun around, and for the most part, the user isn't paying attention to it. Their focus is generally on the play field, where the ball is flying around, and the copy there. And copy rating is a key part of the interface here. You see things like when lit here everywhere to qualify when things apply. Things like skill shot are a great example of the terseness of the phrasing that you need in pinball interfaces. And then this one is one of my favorites. It's sort of a very literal analog to a progress bar, using these drop targets and letters that spell out pieces of the theme of the particular machine. I could go on and on about details and how they relate to digital design all day, but my key point here is that the interactions in these things, all of them are just these artful integrations of design and engineering. And there are thousands of these machines out in the world, so next time you see one, maybe take a closer look. Thank you.